All right. Mic check, mic check. If you can hear me out here, clap twice, man. I just need everybody to be here real quick. Um, y'all tuned into the world's greatest podcast. Y'all know that. And it's not great. It's the world's realest podcast. I need to stop saying great because great and real are not the same. Like back in the day, you could be great and not be real, or be you had to be real to be great. Nowadays, you don't gotta be authentic at all to be great.
Yeah,
It's
you
all
just
about
gotta be
aesthetic.
great.
You gotta look great now.
Eh, you gotta do what feels right for you. That's it. Just remain in alignment, you know.
No, I get it. Well, y'all know the face, y'all know the name. Y'all tuned into the World's Worst Podcast, Talking Cheap Podcast. I have a special guest. Like I said, the premise of this podcast is to, do a lot of different things. But more so, what I really like about Talking Cheap is that it allows people to be authentic. It's a safe space for us to be able to talk about what it's like to be who we are in the spaces that we occupy. I think that at this point is really, really essential. And with that being said, I have a special guest. I don't introduce people. I feel like I should change them. So it's only right that I allow my guest to introduce herself.
Okay, I appreciate that. I am Xanya Harris. I am CEO of Healthy LLC. We make teas right now, at least. I make teas based off of the astrological zodiac signs and the nature of the person's ailments. I will be expanding into health and wellness. It's my current passion, amongst other things, but working with Healthy, it is my biggest passion.
What are some of those other things that you're passionate about?
Writing. I am also a writer. I write quotes and short stories, and I'm also into music. I love music. I do a lot. I
Did
think
you?
I try a lot.
I don't mean to cut you off. My apologies. Did you listen to the playlist for the tea yet?
No, the updated one that you most recently sent.
The intentionality one, yes.
That was the first one that you sent. The second one was in intentionality, right?
Let me make sure. So for those who don't know, Zanya is it's Ali. No, so I sent you a bunch of songs, and then I only sent you one playlist. It's called Intentionality. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, you liked it?
Yes, I did like it. I thought it was a little heavy. Um, Maybe because of when I was listening to it. I was listening to it at the beginning of my day, around like 9 something at work. I felt like I shouldn't be working for anybody else if I'm listening to that playlist.
I think all right. So boom. I think that the playlist you're talking about is Luxury Convos 2.
No, that's the second one.
It can't be. I'm looking
I'm
at the
talking
second.
about the first one with a bunch of Rick Ross and Drake on it.
Oh, you're talking about Galore.
Okay, yes.
Oh, you've been out of the mix now since. Yeah, we've been past Galore. We do Luxury Convos 2. We have, and yeah, Intentionality, its own playlist. Like, girl, come on now, you gotta catch up. But one thing I
I
will say,
heard luxury combos also. I did like luxury combos. It was a nice mix. Like that's something that I could incorporate in my like daily schedules.
did it speak to you?
Um Honestly, I've been curating my own. So like when it's time to listen to someone else's playlist, there's only one person's playlist that I listen to, and that's like my best friend from high school because I'm so picky with my music.
Mm.
But I will sit down and make it a project of mine to like connect with the person and listen to the playlist. So I will be listening to it thoroughly.
So you know what? I think we're gonna make this interesting because we're gonna talk about our journey and our relationship together through the playlist. So when I met you during Galore. So
Okay.
at that time, what Galore was for me was this idea of excellence and this idea of being more intentional with not just my timing, my energy, and the things that matter to me, but being able to figure out how do I love myself, like like, and I'm not talking like there was a reference that Drake said. He's like, I'm trying to live galore, not just I'm trying to really have galore, not just lyric galore. You know what I'm saying? And it was like it was a shot at live galore or something like that. But it basically speaking more like I want to love myself before anybody else loves me.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that time I didn't know what love looked like from the perspective of myself for myself. Like I was loving everybody else. I was a good person. I always had everybody else's best interest in mind, but I didn't feel as if at that time Galore, like the Lord spoke to me because it was like, yo, bro, like how you gonna love these people, take care of these people, take on all these responsibilities, but you're not putting yourself first. So I guess my first
Can't
question
pour
is
from an empty cup.
yes. So I guess for me, it's like, what made you want to get into teas? Because I think when I met you, it was just interesting. I was like, yo, I want to do a tea so bad. And then all of a sudden, I go on Instagram and I think you comment on something. I click on your page and you say you got a tea company called Healthea with a TEA at the end. THEA. It's Healthea.
HEALTHEA, healthy. Yes.
What made you want to get into teas? What's that about?
I think I've always been a curious person, and I'm curious of the present and the past. And I think I was tracking down my family's past, and I ended up stumbling upon my grandfather, who was a bushman. I'm Jamaican. They did all.
School. Oh.
I don't know what those sounds were, but sure. We got a green, gold, and black flag, and that's it. That's the most consistent thing. But anyways, so yeah, so I was looking back, and then I found out that he was like a bushman, and like they all did all these like herbal remedies. And my partner and I, we would often talk about like herbal teas because that's who his mom is. And I would just like ask questions, or we'll have like remedies and stuff. Like there's a book that she gave me when I was younger, a Heal Thyself book. So that was always in my head. Like, well, that was in my face, physically, tangibly, I could touch it. But then like growing up, my mom always had these like little concoctions. My friends would come to the house and be like, I'm sick. Can you please give me that thing that your mom gives you so I can knock out and I could be fine by Friday? And I always admired that. And that's something that I knew that I didn't want to let go of. But I've also been interested in astrology. So I wanted a way, like out post-college grad, I was like, I need to find a way to like merge my passions together, which at the time was always psychology. I'm a mental analyst, AKA that's a fancy way for saying overthinker.
Some people call it over anxious. They call it anxiety, PTSD, whatever you want to call it, but it's real. And
all of the above at different moments, because that's how life is. So I started doing that, and I merged the two together, and I enjoy doing research as well, as long as it's something that I'm interested in or that matters, that's effective. Now I'm doing research in things that are a little bit more innovative and effective, but I just merged the two together. Yeah, and we've been rocking ever since.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. So what is the importance of Aries season? Because for me, so let's go from galore to now we're talking luxury convos. I think it's either between luxury convos or flued out. And I think it was flued out. I'll say flued out. No, let's go luxury convos. So for me, when I came to you at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start taking steps towards something. And I just felt like for me, I've always had a certain rhythm and pattern in my life that when Aries season starts to approach, it's like the whole world like flips upside down for me for the right reasons. So I felt like, you know, it being like early March, mid-March, right before Aries season started, we're talking about tea. It was like February into March. We were talking about teas for April 16th.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, you know, I was just like, you know, let me just reach out to her and see if she'll respond. And then the fact that you was not, I want to say you was in the infantry stages of your company, but I saw like the potential of it. Like it hasn't fully blossomed just yet.
It
And
still hasn't.
but it's coming though. But it's coming though.
It's
and
coming.
I just felt like this was the season. So for me, asking you, because you're someone who knows the astrology stuff, what's the importance of Aries season and why is this moment so pivotal?
Well, I found out that Aries season is like the beginning of like the new year, but also more importantly, there's an energy that circulates this time frame, And Aries is about like the selfishness. So it's like, if you want to change something, if you want to enhance something, if you want to birth something, like now is the time to do it, because it is the beginning of something. You decide what that is. So, I mean, I think it's just a time. It's a time for birth or rebirth or whatever you want to do, but it's a time for a new.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. No, it is. And I think this is why I felt like it took us to Flute Out. So with Flute Out, what that was for me was it was a lot of narratives and conversations about things that we were seeing on the social spaces. So I felt like I wasn't the kind of guy that certain women wanted, because I didn't understand what certain narratives they were projecting. Like, yo, you gotta fly me out. I'm like, this is what it's gonna sound like. And at that point, when we were wrestling with ideas and concepts, I felt like you kind of met me halfway at every point, and I felt like I respected that. So what was the process like in the earlier stages working alongside me to like come up with it? Like, what was the first thing you thought about when I reached out to you in terms of like the proposition of coming together to create something like this?
Well, automatically I went straight to our history. Because that's who I am. So I was just gonna think like, okay, what's this person's track record? And how can I help? How can like I use my network to like help someone who's also Black and has a vision for better? I know you have your non-for-profit and stuff, and you've always like wanted to. I think even when we were in Buffalo together, you would do things, I think like community service, right? Yeah.
I was
And
outside.
you was outside. You were outside. All parts of outside was their Cletus, the Immaculate Queen.
The vibes is what it is.
Right. So I was like, okay, this is well balanced, dude. And I see his vision. I know what he's doing. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna hear you out. And I'm gonna use my knowledge to enhance your knowledge as much as I can.
And I will and I also say I will say that you definitely have done that. You broke me out of like just that ginger, chamomile, the regular teas that everybody be sipping on, the mints. You know what I'm saying? Like you one that it brought ashwagandha to my life. Ashwagandha. Who the hell would have ever thought? Ashwagandha. You brought ashwagandha to my life. So when did you start to realize that you had a passion for like, because with what I always thought was really interesting was like you were able to take things, and from our meetings what my explanation process of business is. You have to be a very special person to be able to be like, it's a different level of frequency the way my mind works.
Yes.
So how were you able to manage those different, like, because it's very intentional and strategic. My mind is a maze for a reason, right? And you were able to kind of decode a lot of things. How were you able to do that?
I use love. I try to listen. I try my best to listen. I try my best to understand. And I try my best to practice patience, which is something that has not always come easy for me.
Me either. And I appreciate that, because this was what made I felt that from branding, ideation, like there's definitely like and we'll go through that in the latter part of the conversation, but there was definitely a lot of things that we had on the table. And we both came to a point that we had to be super intentional. That's why for me, I wanted to call this, originally I had a certain name, and it was going to be Professionality. We spoke about this earlier because it was supposed to be marketed to a certain demographic of people. But after being in this environment where I'm at now, I feel like it's not about being professional, it's about being intentional. And the things in the way that your mind worked, it's like we both knew what the end goal was supposed to be. We were just wrestling at what it needed to sound like, look like, and feel like. And I think that we did a really great job in really crafting this message, this story, this narrative, in this product that we're releasing. So, tell us more about the teas. Like, how many different flavors did we have? Why did we choose this one? What is the creation process for it?
What is the creation process for? Is that what you said?
No, what is I think we kind of know that, but I mean, for this product specifically, talking about this intentional tea, this intentionality that we have, this mango turmeric flavor, this, what is the feeling and the vibes that go into creating something like this?
It's your vibe, like we took your energy and my hand and my craft and we put it in a tea. So it's like it's the same vibe that exists when you do amongst somebody else. You know, the tropical, I don't know, maybe you think you do think you Jamaican or something, but I know it's the Nigerian
Hold
in
there.
you.
Wow.
You
Now,
see?
wow.
Like I know that
Wow.
Nigerian, I like mango so much, you know, but it's fine. And then the turmeric that comes from the Aries tea, because I do have 12 signs. I have a tea for all 12 signs on my website, healthyforme.com. Um, and the Aries has turmeric, cinnamon, a little bit of black pepper, um, to bring out the actual curcumin in the turmeric. But Aries is ruled by the eyes and the head. So I do it to kind of like clear up the sinuses and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, so we took that because you're a big time Aries, so much that y'all, I'm about to rat on him. He said that March Aries don't count.
Oh, all right. So boom, boom. Let me clear this up. Oh, wow. All right. At least I know that this is a safe space. At least I know this is a safe space. I'm glad. I'm glad you told me you only got 20 minutes. No, no, no. We gotta get the. We gotta get the. If you listen to this in the car, you just dropped off the kids. Now we can talk for it. All right. Boom. It's not that they don't exist. They just don't emerge. They don't bloom the same way. It's like the best way to put it is like when you think of a March Aries, you're looking at Aries in its infantry, in its innocence, and it's like when you have a toddler versus a teenager. Right now, you're getting into like this is grown man Aries season. Like this is the last of Aries season. So y'all had the whole month to prepare. From the 16th, I think, to the 18th, 19th is the last of this. Then after that, we go into the season that no one really cares about, and then after that, we get into the summertime. So with
What
that,
season that nobody really cares about?
what's after Aries season?
First of all, different strokes for different folks. Okay. After Aries season comes Taurus.
I think my dad's a Taurus.
Taurus, Taurus are to be respected as well. Very much so. They're very close to Aries. They're just not as obtrusive.
Wait, what's the word that you use?
No, I'm just kidding. They're just not as
Abrasive.
defined
Defined.
as Aries. But there's the bull and the ram.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I see what you're getting at. Fair. Okay.
A lot of similarities.
You said that you have family members who are Aries too, and that's how you kind of learned. So you've seen it. So what was it like looking at me as a younger Aries amongst like somebody like your father, somebody else who's also an Aries? Like, what is that experience like when you're cultivating this tea, listen to this playlist, being a part of this vibe? Like, what is this like for you?
My extended dad, my friend's father that I grew up with, he's an Aries. My biological father is not. I I think that it can be very like happy energy, like very just off the fly type energy. Um, but I know when you were younger specifically, so when we were in college, I think you had a lot of like gusto, a lot of energy. But I want to make sure that everyone knows that the sun sign is just that. The rest of your chart.
I mean, we
And,
can go there if you want me
and
to.
how, but oh, you're gonna tell them all of that?
I mean, listen, God already got me preserved. It's a different kind of vibe where we at.
That's true. That's
You gotta,
true.
you gotta understand. Like what we're doing right now is so legendary because I don't think anybody has ever thought this in detail about why something's created and who it's for and what the intention for it is and for what that feeling is supposed to be. What type of timing should you be on? When should you listen to this? When should
I'm
you
a
drink this?
Capricorn. We like giving gifts. We like giving.
I could tell. I still got some stuff for you. 'Cause I got my own presents for you and all that stuff. But that's another conversation for another day. Um, More so for me. I mean, listen, like every season is a beautiful time, and for me, it was like it's not just energy and gusto. It's about defining the moments that matter the most. And I felt like in a lot of places I was at, I was trying to show a lot of love and make sure that we could solidify something else historic when they weren't meant to be a part of my history.
You know what? You know what I could say? I feel like Aries energy forces you to be present. I think that's something that you do very well. You're able to be in the present moment quite easily, whereas a lot of people are in the past or the future or something like that. And sometimes people acknowledge it, sometimes people don't, but it's usually very apparent how present you are or that type of energy is.
Okay, okay, I feel that. And like I said, for you, what I would say is, because if we can go through the chart, let's go through the chart. So you already know Aries season is the sun. I also have a Gemini moon. So I have a twin flame. And the beautiful thing about my twin flames are like if I lean too much on one versus the other, it gets very different. That's why I don't do too
What do
much.
you mean by you have a twin flame?
So my moon is I have a Gemini moon.
And that's what twin flame means?
I mean, Gemini's is two. They're twins.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you bring them both together, you got a really nice balance. But it's very rare when you meet twins that are always on the same type of vibe all the time. Twins would be the same person. They connect dots, but they're completely different in the way they are. But they're very similar. So it's like being able to like tiptoe the line. And I had to kind of figure out how to balance being a professional and being a scholar and being a son and then being a brother and being a professor and being an entrepreneur and being someone who advocates for people and being someone who wants to love their friends and love their family and dealing and coping with mad trauma. Like, let's just keep it real. Like, you got to think about what 2019 was. We're not talking about 2020. 2019 was about cutting niggas off and elevating to new things. 2020 was about clear vision. You were supposed to see it all. 2020 was the first time we seen everything in the worst way ever. And then you have to fight through those demons, and now 2021 you kind of have to rebuild what who you are and what this is about. And for me, I felt like this was my form of wellness and protest rather than you know throwing parties and just letting people drain me. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, like, y'all drain me when I want to be drained, but right now I'm locked in. And I felt like you came at the perfect moment to be able to explain why I be feeling some of the ways I felt. So my question for you more so is, what's your religious background, and as well as what is your academic background? Like, what made you be able to bring all these different concepts and ideas together so that this product is exactly like does exactly what you intend for it to do?
Um, so I don't consider myself religious. I do believe in God sometimes. Sometimes I don't. It depends on where my brain is. Because you don't know. You don't know what you don't know, and you just don't know also what has been told or whatever. Um, so my religious background is more so spiritual. I pray. I believe in energy. I sometimes I'll read the Bible because that's what I grew up with. That's a part of my familial foundation. Um, but I don't go to church. I won't consider myself Christian, Catholic, or anything like that.
Man, listen, Queen,
Well,
respectfully
what?
speaking, respectfully, can we comfortably speak here? This is this
Yeah,
is
go
my safe
ahead.
space, right? All right, cool. Me personally, I haven't been in church in like 7 years, bro. And I'm gonna
Okay.
tell you, and you would never know. I'll cast out every demon in every neighborhood,
Okay.
comfortably speaking. But you'll never know because you know what I've also learned about church. Like, yes, it's about meeting the body of Christ. But right now, I feel like the body of Christ needs to be reworked and refocused because there's a lot of people that's been focusing on the vibes of the church and not the work that the church needs to do. So if you're not in the mental, spiritual, or physical space to be in a place where you have to also overextend yourself in the church, then I just rather not even pull up because it's just my nature, you know what I'm saying, to want to take things to the next level. So I'd rather just do what I do, work my own ministry, because this is a form of ministry. And I don't think people talk about this a lot. Like, my podcast is a form of ministry. This
Mm-hmm.
creation of this product, because even when we talked about product numbers and delivery and responsibilities. Like you really decided to take on a lot of like, things that I was just like, you don't have to do. Like, I'm here. And he was like, but nah, I want to do it. So where did that attitude come from? And like, and what made you want to have it the way you had it? Like, why was your mentality the way it was in terms of like business and this product?
Um, so to backtrack, very spiritual. I don't know if we finished that.
Oh, I didn't know there was more. I thought that was just the vibes. My bad.
No. But I definitely refer to like the Bible, the Psalms. I think that's what I go for. I was going to say that my Pastor Reverend DeQuincy Hence, may he rest in peace. I think he was very inspirational. He was young, a man of Morehouse, um, and Omega Psi Phi fraternity, and he brought me like alive again, going to that church. But also in a way, I think it was when he and I started to talk about Dr. Sebi, and he made it like more okay for me to go in that route. I was like, yeah, I can definitely mix like my spirituality that found me, I didn't seek, with what I was raised upon, which was a certain level of like Christianity. It's a Baptist church, Shiloh Baptist Church in your child. Um, but I've also gone to other denominations and Catholic school. Um, but yeah, so mainly spiritual. You were asking why I was able to have the mindset that I did when we started working together.
Because I know it's not like, listen, I know myself. I'm very self-aware. I know what I bring to the table. I know why I bring it to the table, but I also know what the table needs to look like in order for things to get done.
Mhm.
And I know that sometimes I shake the whole table. I shake the room a lot, so the table usually just, you know. But
Doesn't last long.
I mean, the table wasn't strong when I got there. You know what I'm saying? Like the tables are never strong. That's why I like the table I'm at right now, because it's a solid table. It's long. You can see that before I got there, everything was prepared.
You get to build it
I get to
yourself.
add to it. I don't gotta build it. I just gotta add to it. It's a little different when you have to like sit down and get the instructions, and you never did this before, and you're trying to figure it out, and you're trying to bring everybody to help, and nobody help. Somebody sleeping. Someone said they can't come. Now you're back by yourself trying to fix the table, and I just know that with that, I have a certain way that I conduct myself and the business expectations.
Mhm.
So for you, like, how did you have the mentality you had that was like, yeah, this can work and we can make this happen?
Well,
And
so
before you continue, I don't mean to cut you off again, Queen. You know I don't, but it's also the fact like the time deadline was so tight. No, not a full short. Go ahead.
you want me to talk now?
Go ahead. I just had to set the table. Like I said, if I didn't set the table, then you have to do it.
Sure, thank you. It really was just the initial decision of working together. I was like, okay, this is the project that I'm working on. I'm not gonna allow anything else right now because this is the focus and this is what my belief is in. And I'm always calculating, like that's how my business mind works. I'm always calculating so that I can try to figure out what the final product is or the next step or whatever. And I need to do that so that like wheels keep turning, right? If I sleep on it, then it's not. And there's a lot of things that I have slept on, trust me. So I just I always say to myself, just keep swimming, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. And I have faith. I have faith that it's going to get done. And if it doesn't get done, I let it go. That's just how I try to live my life. So with you and I think the enthusiasm that you had with the teas, and even learning about it fueled us to continue to go further. Because I know you're in your PhD program. I work full time still. Um, and I also still have my other personal orders and things.
So, like I said, I appreciate you because I knew you from a while ago. I knew you a while back, and the way I met you, I think was like, yeah, I don't know if if I was misrepresented in any way, shape, or form, and that could be affiliations is very, very, very important, and people don't talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's like I was like, man, let's just see. And the fact that you had me, like I said, you favored me enough to, like, yeah, what's up? What we talking about? That meant a lot to me. Um, so how do you work? Because I think that we got to talk about the creation process a little bit. So what was the steps that went into this flavor and this product? Reason why I ask is because you know how I am when I work about topics, ideas, flavors, colors. Like it's a whole different. You just have to sit there and just like.
Yeah.
So how did you work when it came to like putting together this product? What was the process like for you?
I literally sat there at this very same table, just that's why I made sure that we scheduled time every time we spoke. Like, every time we spoke, I was like, all right, it has to be between this time and this time because I understand how you work. It's not just going to be 1-2 questions. Like if I were at my full-time job and we spoke and you called, I was like, okay, not right now, because I know that I don't have the intentions to gain everything because I'm somewhere else. So it was really just like making space. And just trying to be that filter, hear you out, what you were saying, what you were trying to say, based off of what I knew about the teas.
Now you really are great at what you do. I don't think you understand, like, because what I remember is, all right. So my issue was, and I think my issue is always the same thing. I think very big picture. So I already was talking enterprise when we should really have just been talking like, what kind of flavors do you like, and what kind of like
What's the color?
what's your favorite color? Man, it's this Pantone Immaculate Mango, Icy Mango. That it's the numbers, this, and this, and you guys just know what it looked like.
And that's the exact answer.
And I'll let me send you the color schemes.
I was just like, oh my God, what is this guy talking about? But you said it the last time that we did have a meeting, you did say that we worked from like back to front. Like we knew the big picture and we just happened to have to work from like back to present. For some reason, we really just had to like tear it all up. But I think it's because we understood what we wanted the end goal to be, and we understood how our livelihoods were, and that attributed to how our brains were working on this very project here.
So
and still working.
It's still working because the way this season's gonna go. It's not like, so the way I break things down. What's gonna happen with this tea is gonna do a couple different things. So the first one is gonna just credibility. Niggas don't ever respect shit until they see it and then taste it and realize like, yo, there's actually people who real niggas drink tea.
They should.
Right. You see how my beard is flourishing now. This is not. I've been abstinent for a while now. Like I've been. Yeah, these streets is horrible. I've been like, you know what, God, I know you know good things when you see it, and I know you gave me the opportunity to, decipher through the book. I'm gonna just stay to myself. I ain't gonna lie, the streets is tempting though, but I'm just not
Streets are
interested.
calling your name.
I mean, outside loves me, and after a while, my mom said it best. So she's one of the people that I think that we speak the same language. She says like it's never the fact that you do anything. It's the fact that when you're not around and people see that you're doing things that they're not a part of, they feel like they have to find a way to get around that. And what tends to happen is they'll come to the table and fuck up your whole shit. Like she didn't curse, but that's what she's saying. She's like, yeah, you could love everybody and want to include everybody, but you understand like where you're going right now. You don't have the favor of the people that allow you to bring who you want to bring in yet. So you got to make sure that you are favored first. Right. Yeah. Because if you fuck this shit up, ain't no one to blame but yourself.
Yeah. One life, and it's yours. Nobody else's. So.
Oh man.
I hear mom on that.
I mean, like I said, like I think the last thing I'll ask is how do you balance working with a man and like being a black woman, you know what I mean? Like a black man and black women working together. Like, there's a lot of different like nuances that come into interacting with somebody. And it's like I try to tell people, that's why it was the first thing I asked you when I got on the phone. I'm like, if you got a man, like you sure
Let
like
me
make
know.
why do
Yes.
you feel I said that, and what was our working dynamic like?
So at first, that was the first time I've worked with men before, but not on like long-term projects. Um, and so it was just really quick, like email back to back. Like I didn't really have to like communicate with them because we weren't growing something together. We were both just like showing up. Stay Busy podcast. It's amazing. Um, it has to do with us. Like maybe you be on it one day. Music journalism. I feel like you'd be great.
Oh man, we working. I'm just trying to make sure the tea come out and take away post. That's it. That's
You'll
all I
get
need.
there. But yeah, so you asked if I have a partner and we spoke about it. And I believe that you asked because you wanted to know like what my livelihood is like. And then we were able to like have the conversation and I discussed my boundaries, you discussed yours, and I was like, okay, cool, we can move forward from there respectfully.
Comfortably speaking.
Comfortably speaking,
Speaking.
exactly. So I commend that, and I definitely, as a Black woman, it is a little scary sometimes, because you want to make sure that your boundaries are set, and I personally just have to remain anchored down with my loved ones, with the people in my life. I can speak to any male in my life about, you know, if I'm uncomfortable or not, or if I had a question about something,
You got a
because
point
I
of
did
reference.
that, huh?
You have a point of reference. You have multiple point of references.
Multiple points of reference, yes, for both women and men. And I think that's important because, they came before me or they know their kind. So yeah, like I'd go to my father or partner,
I feel it.
my friends. Yeah. So, but it was something that was like really, really, really nerve-wracking for me.
Why?
I've never done it before. I've never done it before. And like you hear a lot of like allegations. I think like me being an entrepreneur now, coming up in the era where like there was the Me Too movement and also like all of the stuff about like women in Hollywood, because I don't know how far this is going to take me. So I'm like really just kind of like studying their moves and like trying to see like, okay, how did these things happen? And how do I prevent that 1,000%, but also create a safe space for someone who is a Black man so that nothing comes off to be accusatory, because I have to be mindful of that.
Yeah, because right now we're in a space where like honestly, femininity runs the world, and that's what it is. Like I'm the only Black man in my right now. There's only like 2 or 3 Black men in my entire department of like 56 people.
Right.
Like two, like I'm like no disrespect, but I'm like I'm not like I'm not racially ambiguous. I'm Black. Like that's a nigga right there. Like they know that, they smell it. The way I even say "excuse me, miss," they already like, oh shit. Like I gotta watch my tone. I
Yeah.
I'm making you uncomfortable. Why? Like,
Yeah.
do we have to talk after class
Yeah.
about what? You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like I try to, I apologize if I'm a little too loud, but I try to make
That's
sure
okay.
like I just try to make sure that like I respect the spaces that people, I'm not one of these people that want to figure things out. I tell people all the time, like the minute you got people having to figure things out, just know you've messed up. You've messed up because life is already like super crazy and chaotic. So the job of anybody in a position of leadership or a position of like prestige is to really make the world move in a more seamless way for people to not have to worry about things that they shouldn't have to worry about. And I think we did a really good job with this tea. And I want to act. The reason I say that is because the wellness aspect of it and the health aspect of it, I think you did a really great job constructing that balance, especially when I needed it the most. Because you sent me the 4 flavors that we were supposed to drop throughout the seasons, but you know, I'll let you talk about it.
What do you want me to talk about?
This the construction of the teas. Oh, all right, there you go. The
Is it
cons-
too bright?
Nah, you Gucci. The
Okay.
construction of the teas. So, um, oh, you got a dimmer? That's a vibe. Um, but like just like the balance between the different flavors, the mango, the black pepper, the like what made you want like how did you know it was? Because remember the first time when I tried the mango turmeric joint, it was spicy. Like it was like I told you, I'm like, yeah, this is type lit, but it's spicy. Like I'm not even in DR right now. You feel me? Like I'm not even with my folk in there. So when you was doing that, I was like, what is the what kind of season are you trying to have? So what was like, how did you balance it? Like how did you know what to add, how much to add, and what was the intention behind that?
Um, I felt like you wanted spicy. You're an Aries, and I felt like you could use some of your own spice, and then I think was it mango that we did first?
Then the first one was um it was
Yeah,
like an orange turmeric or something
it
like
was
that.
more so like an orange turmeric, because I didn't have mango at the time. But I wanted it to remain like tropical in a sense. And I use my intuition, to be very quite honest. It's all intentional for me when I make the teas. I sit, I use moments of silence, drink some water, and I do the do. That's it. And I make sure I get feedback. That's the most important thing for me, because I want to know if I'm connected to what I'm doing.
Speaking of feedback, I just like the way that your mind works. Like I feel like when it comes to you, like you're very much like Cletus, stay on topic. Please stay on task. Please, I see that, but I need you to really hear. Like, and I appreciate that because it's very rare that you meet someone who can speak your language in a way that you'll be able to like, receive the information. So I guess overall, like just from like the learning perspective, when we both came into this, like, do you feel like you learned a lot from me? Like, I already know I learned a lot from you because I didn't know anything about teas. I never heard about no ashwagandha. And you was like, no, it's ashwagandha. You have to say it correctly, especially if you're gonna be in these spaces. You're not gonna sit here and can't even say the first letter of the T alphabet. And I was like, I'm
I
like, you
said
know what?
nothing of that sort.
You said it. You said it, but you ain't say it like that.
I have a background in linguistics and speech, so language has always been something for me. And I appreciate people that could correct my language as well, because trust me, I have those people over here in my life that are always, always on top of my ass. Um, but yes, I know that I can be off topic sometimes. So I just try to hold space, as much space as I can when I'm having interactions. That's why I prefer like one-on-one or small crowds.
I love it. I love it. I feel it. It was a great experience, and I'm forever grateful for this moment. And I know that the people gonna like the tea. So if anybody wants to go get the tea, want to link up with you, consult, get some consultations about, because all the information you gave me, we kind of created something out of it, and I feel like that's what's paying us both back in this. And also I have, my experience in communication, culture, branding, strategic communication, fundraising, these little things that just bring products together and just,
Mhm.
take things from big picture, small picture to masterpiece to gallery to
NFTs.
NFTs to MoMA. You feel me? I didn't even do NFT because I'm not really interested in NFT right now. I think my rule of thumb is if you're hearing about it now, that means you're 5 years too late. And it's not like a Bitcoin thing because Bitcoin is an actual economy. NFT is like, all right, I want to put a pop-up shop here and I want to see if it's a good location. And if it's a good location, I'm going to like continue to build it. So you should look for other things that you already do in the physical space. Like imagine we create our own digital tea space that takes crypto and all that stuff, right? That's
Well, I said I'm interested in more things than just one. So,
me
you know,
outside.
we never know where it's gonna fall, whether it's an NFT, crypto, Bitcoin.
I just don't ever want to be broke. That's all I know
Same. Me and that word don't go together.
at
Let's make
all.
a switch.
You ever had back sweats?
No.
Nah. Wait. This is what we're gonna do right now. I've been snorting a lot this week, and I don't know why. So we're not gonna snort no more this week, okay? All right. But I appreciate your time. I know you're busy. Is there anything else that we really need to know more about this tea, about the brands that we're working on, et cetera, about you, about me, about our working habits? Anything else that, anything we're working on in the future? Is there anything else we gotta really talk about?
No, I mean, I'm sure we'll have a podcast for that too when it's time. Uh, for now, you can be on the lookout for the healthy and immaculate intentionality collaboration.
Wow.
Um, we know the vibes. We know that it's intentionally made for the person. It's a part of my brand. It's a part of your brand, and we're doing it out of love. And I'm doing it out of care. That's why I do this because I know that I have a nature where I want to help, and I see that this is a way that I want to help. It's also soothing for me. Um, my grandmother just like messaged me, and like I could cry talking about this, but I'm not going to. But my grandmother, she was just like, "Can you make me a package of teas?" She texted me, and I'm like, "You want some of my teas, Grandma?" And it's small, but it's also a very monumental thing because it's something that I'm growing. I don't have kids yet. Like it's my baby right now.
Yeah, I ain't got kids either, but I'm not gonna lie, I've been enjoying this process, and without a doubt, like this has been super rewarding. And I just, like I said, I'm just happy to be here, and like the way you say you hold space, I'm happy that you allow me to take up space. So with that being said, yeah, like I appreciate you, and I think next season is gonna be a little bit better because I feel like the headphones is gonna match the flavor, and it's just a different vibe. Like just going from that to this season, man, listen, it's gonna be very polished, and I'm excited because this only could have been done with just your commitment to just being open with me, and I appreciate that.
I appreciate it as well. So let them know what the tea is and where they can find it and what we're gonna do. So
Man,
check it out.
man, listen, just 416. Just keep your eyes on the socials. That's all I'm gonna say. Just we're gonna really just try to flood. My goal is simply sell out everything in every space that I hold, and just that's it. Like everywhere. I'm trying to break every algorithm possible.
Nah, now you know. Like I said, I'm Jamaican, right? And you by association or by hope.
No,
um,
I'm gonna do that, John.
that's funny. Anyways, like when you say sell out, you need to have the horns, okay? So when you
Oh
edit this,
man.
make sure you put the pew 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 pew.
Oh,
I don't know
oh.
about that.
I said, friends, my goal is simple. I need you to go grab a tea, go find you a gal, and play What's in My Cup is in my wallet. Boy. All right, with that being said, did you finish all your
All
tea?
right.
I finished
Yes.
all of mine. I feel like
All
I'm
right.
like,
I have one more sip left. Let
yeah,
me
you got to
finish.
get that out of here. There you go. Do that for grandma now. There you go. Get that all out there. Yeah.
This was a custom made one.
Which one is that one?
This was one that I had a guest that made it, and that's just it's just a vibe.
You got guests making teas?
Hey, teas are my life.
That's
My life.
tough. I need some money. I think we gotta start doing some tea events. And I think that's what's next. We're gonna do a tea party. I don't know what season yet. I think we kind of spoke about this in my abstractions, but if you look at your notes, it's already in there.
Yeah, we'll find out when I go to Rock Nation brunches.
Man,
All right, Cletus. Good to see you. Good to talk to you.
my pleasure's always mine. All right, y'all know the face, y'all know the name, man. We already said where to find her. You go look her up, healthy. Make sure we spell it correctly. You spelled it before one more time for the folks that don't know how to spell.
www.healthea-forme.com. Okay.
Beautiful. FORme.com. Love to see it. All right. And like I said, y'all know talk ain't cheap, it's immaculate. And like you know what I say, it's usually not that deep, it's a vibe. And just stay out here and survive, my nigga, survive. All right. Many blessings to you, Queen. Bye bye.